Hi everybody. A very good morning to all our viewers today. Today we have with us someone who is on a mission to help the impact or organizations on data. Now we all know that data is a new fuel. We have Elaine Chang with us. She's the CEO of TaroWorks. She's done her BS from New York, MBA from University of Michigan, and she's helping the frontline field teams to better use the information and data to accelerate sustainable development. Hi, Elaine. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Hi, Harsha. Thanks for having me. And hi, everybody. Glad to be with you.
Elaine, you have been in this space since a while now. It's been 15 years. It's like a long time. And you previously worked in data and social finance. What was your inflection point to start and to found TaroWorks?
Yeah, thanks, Harsha. It's been quite a journey. Yeah, I actually got my start in my career in data analysis. I was working at some of the large banks. I wouldn't say it was social finance necessarily, but it was like the Bank of Americas and the Merrill Lynches of the world. And we really got into using data for decision making for kind of the sales side of the business. And I just realized how big of an impact data makes in making decisions. And around that time, I had started reading Dr. Eunice's book, Banker to the Poor, and was just really fascinated by this idea of like, how can you use things like finance, things like data to help advance social causes and have people sort of help themselves. And so um, I came across a program called the Bankers Without Borders program by Grameen Foundation, and they really hooked me up into like using my data background for a social enterprise. It happened to be in Indonesia, and I think that's where I really got to see that technology bringing data into the organization to make changes and using that data to make decisions to kind of improve operations and therefore improve the service and product delivery to the most vulnerable. So I think I really wanted to, yeah, that was sort of 12 years ago that I've started with the Grameen Foundation kind of full time after this project. Um, at that point, they had created this product, which was a way to help bridge the headquarters staff with offline field teams to better collaborate, better share information back and forth. And I really wanted to be part of that. So 12 years ago, that was sort of the challenge to see if we could build a business model around this product that had been built. And I've been with them ever since.
Lovely. What an inspirational story. Now, data is a new fuel in the present times. How does Taro work empower the companies to manage data?
Yeah, so TaroWorks, just to give some background on what it is, it is a tool that helps, it gives organizations the ability to build out kind of workflows for their mobile users. In this case, it's field teams. And on the front end is the mobile app that works um, offline. It helps sync information in and out of a central database, but it helps provide that guidance to field agents as they are in the communities working to make their impact. We've seen that information is critical to scale impact. I think we work with a lot of organizations who are kind of doing well with their processes, but then they get kind of blocked by not having the right information on time as they're scaling. They're not getting it in an accurate manner. And so that's when they're really starting to move toward technology to get that critical information in. Um, we do want to also focus on including populations that are less connected. So I think a lot of organizations, maybe they're working with working with clients and working with populations that have regular access to smartphones. I think just being our background in working with the Grameen Foundation, we want to enable field agents who are working with vulnerable populations. um, who maybe don't have access to consistent technology. Maybe for social reasons, women don't have access to devices. And so we do connect to kind of field agents who are going to these areas. I think as we're seeing, actually, I would also say our tool is industry agnostic. So it doesn't matter if you're doing work in education, in climate change, um, in water sanitation, as long as you have that field team who's the conduit for information, where we're able to work with them. So what we've seen is that over time, a lot of these vulnerable populations are coming about because of some sort of climate change. Um, so maybe it's, displaced peoples from some climate disasters, farmers who are seeing their way of life changing because of changing climate. And so, yeah, I think that's why I'm super interested about how we can better get that better use information, data, and technology to solve these issues.
That's great. Lately, many companies have signed up for SBTI and are working to become net zero. What is the crucial role played by TaroWorks? And also, if you could share some case studies with us, that would help.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, that's super encouraging, and I'm so happy to see that. But I would say for TeraWorks's role, um, I think being able to make decisions using data, and also I think there's actually another thing that we really focus on is the carbon markets. Maybe I should just call that out too. We work a lot with organizations who are in the business or doing activities that are either reducing, avoiding, or removing carbon. Um, and a lot of the time they're trying to get carbon credits from the work that they're doing. So we've seen a lot of organizations, I'll go into some case studies in a bit, but they've sort of been doing their processes and running their businesses or running their nonprofit, and just recently have realized that there's this carbon credit option, and are using that same information and more to qualify for these carbon credits. Um, where I see TeraWorks coming into play is that in order to maximize the funding that these organizations can get on the carbon credit markets, they really need to have good auditable data, to say that, okay, I have this ton of carbon avoided, and it's selling at this price. The buyers need to make sure that there's that's real information. It's backed up by the data. And that requires going beyond just kind of reporting at a high aggregate level of um, what their impact has been, but being able to go down a level to um, to get at more activity level information. So who received this product or service? When was it sold? Um, Ongoing usage information. That's all sort of very granular, but all helps with showcasing the quality of that carbon credit. Some examples that I can bring up are Sistema Bio. So they have a biodigester system, and they work with primarily farmers, to kind of put cow manure in, let it digest, and it provides like a fertilizer and also natural gas. So after a while, they started selling the natural gas cook stoves. So they've been sort of taking this packaging into carbon credits. When we started working with them, they were only in Mexico. They've now expanded hugely into Mexico and also India. I think they're working throughout India, but they're kind of tracking using TeraWorks everything from lead generation to farm diagnostics, installation of the biodigesters, maintenance over time, just to ensure that these products are still working. So it's very robust, and they've been able to kind of really back up their data for these carbon credits. Another interesting use case is trees for the future. So they're more nature-based solution. They are helping farmers reforest and replant trees. So they're actually removing carbon. So we've been working with them since 2014. They have scaled their impact from sort of East Africa to Central and West Africa, Francophone Africa. They were able to, instead of going through the process of getting certified and then placing the certificates on the market and waiting for buyers, they actually had an exciting offtake contract with Microsoft for a 6-year kind of pre-purchase agreement. And Microsoft was able to go into the field and see their operations, see how they're collecting data, and that gave them the confidence that they wanted to kind of pre-purchase the impact. So those are just a couple of the
And that's very
um,
interesting. I'm
examples.
sure the participants who join, they'll usually benefit from this. Um, Now, I know uh, so how does it like when you are capturing the data, it's the field workers who are taking the pictures or videos and then uploading, and that
Yeah.
gets a live access to the funders or the people who are going to buy the carbon credits. And how do they monetize about it? Like
Yeah.
one case study is Microsoft. How does the other company, System of Bio, how do they monetize it? How does it function?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, it's about like getting information from the field, these field workers, and having it come into like reports so that if you are a field manager, you can track, okay, what activities or what regions are most active, where can we pivot and shift things. I think that's, one part of reporting is kind of operational efficiency, making sure that operationally we are providing that impact. And I think the other one is more for how do you report to funders, to donors, to these carbon credit certification agencies. These examples that I gave, Trees for the Future and Sistema, they are getting kind of certified. So I don't know exactly which certifications are going for, but they're a number out there, which is uh, it's a lot to kind of navigate. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
Uh,
I think they're kind of doing both. They're using reports from the data for kind of operational efficiency and also reporting this information to these certification agencies.
Great. That's a great job, and thank you for sharing the case studies. What is your vision for the coming 5 years?
Yeah. Actually, I just thought of something else for the last question too, if I could just
Sure.
go back quickly. I think with our system as well, it is on the Salesforce platform. And from that, there is what essentially we do is Salesforce already has a very robust CRM system for tracking these individual activities, individual people, products, what have you. But they also have what's called a partner community. And that allows certain organizations to push information to like a portal almost. So instead of being, push for report information, the organization pushing information to these investors, donors, what have you, there's also a way to publish reports through this portal so that it can be pull as well. So as a donor, as an investor, I can go into that portal and see activities as well. Um, okay, but sorry, going back to your,
No. Thank you for sharing that. Salesforce Exchange has been really helpful to many of them. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
thanks for sharing that.
Um, I think in terms of our 5-year vision, I actually our 10-year goal at TaroWorks is that we want to be helping 100,000 frontline agents to be active on our platform. And we do see that climate change activities is going to be a large part of that. So I do want to focus on that more. I think that's incorporating even more functionality that's specific to activities that these carbon reduction organizations may need. So, for example, there are a lot of smart sensors out there right now. I think tracking usage is immensely difficult, but critical for getting these certifications. So, how can we um, access these smart sensor information again without access if there are impediments in the infrastructure for having consistent data connectivity. How can you still keep getting that information in? How might you get more accurate geotagging? I think all these things to improve that auditability. Certainly, there's a lot of things now that people can take advantage of. But yeah, I think as we want to focus on getting more frontline agents active on TeraWorks, I think that will be critical.
That's great. Um, it has been lovely talking to you. Now, IICSR is an education institute focused on climate change, sustainable development. What are the knowledge gaps that you have seen in the industry which we can fill in?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Um, I think right now we're in an era where there's just like a lot of proliferation of technology, especially when I started about 12 years ago, um, people were really used to pen and paper in the field if they didn't have connectivity. So I think that's still there, obviously, but there are a lot of other technologies now that are helping bridge that gap. So I think in terms of um, an area to study is sort of what's out there already, especially as you're making decisions on what technology to use, looking at what existing technology there is and really balancing that out with kind of building something new. Um, I have always been just very interested in kind of the operations and logistics. I truly believe that logistics and yeah, operations of an organization can help provide impact sort of faster or in a more appropriate way. So, and I would also kind of encourage people to think beyond just getting reports to thinking through, um, what are the channels for getting that data in? Like how, if I need this KPI or this key performance indicator, where is that data coming from? Who's getting it? How often is it collected? So kind of thinking through the organization's operations and logistics, I think is very can be very eye-opening for just the quality of data. Um, and yeah, just channels and yeah, the how of getting information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
accelerating sustainable development with the use of technology. So
Hmm.
yeah, we are also due to invite you for a net zero course in the coming year, and I would ensure that we are the other one also that we are curating. It would be lovely to have you share the case studies with us on that platform. I would
Yeah,
like to
happy to
open it to,
participate.
thank you. I would like to open it up to our audience if they have any questions. Lorraine, Janendra.
Yeah, I have one question.
Sure.
Thanks for the session. It's very learning. My question is, after collecting the data from the feed, do you use any tool or software to do analysis and data handling, or you do just simple calculations on an MS Excel? Thank
Yeah,
you.
so thanks for that question. So I think to explain, TeraWorks, we do not do any data crunching. I think we're the technology platform that helps organizations collect that information and collaborate with their field teams. Um, ev all of our, well, we get installed into our clients' Salesforce platforms. So it's their data. We don't have access to it until they give us access, maybe for like a support ticket or something. But it is their information, it's their data. But Salesforce is a really advanced platform for kind of reporting. So there's drag and drop reports. You can create dashboards. If you wanted to get more into kind of statistical analysis, there are also add-ons for that. But we don't actually do any of the data crunching ourselves. It's the technology that helps get that critical information from the field.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. It was lovely having you with us. Since there was a time change from of the daylight saving, and the people may have missed out talking to you, do you think you would like to share your information, how they can get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Happy to do that. Harsha, if you wouldn't mind sharing it with people, that's fine.
Yeah,
But I can also
yeah,
just say, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, or my email is just elaine@taroworks.org.
lovely. Thank you so very much. It has been excellent talking to you today. And we wish you all the best. And I look forward to having you with us in the upcoming courses and sessions.
That would be great. Thanks to everyone who joined, and so glad that you're doing work in this area. It's really great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Harsha.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harsha.